The Oscars, once a great celebration of film and the cinematic arts, it has now become something of a joke where the Hollywood elite come out to slap each other on the back, tell them how great they are, and then kiss each other's boots. It was on last night. Did you even notice?
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast and consider becoming a channel member. The Oscars. I remember when I first got into film as an interest that I was glued to the television. Whatever station it was on, our local TV network would be playing it. My family didn't have cable at the time. So if it was on a local station, I was excited. I wanted to see what was playing. As a child and as a teen and even a young adult, I often questioned how come popular movies often didn't get nominated. It could go back and forth. It could be something very artistic. But over time, and especially deep into my adulthood, I started to notice that the Oscars really stopped being about cinematic arts and more about fluffing up each other being the actors, directors, producers, and everyone else no one cares about. This was made abundantly clear in last night's Oscars, the 97th Academy Awards, where films like Wicked, which was honestly liked by a lot of people, I personally haven't seen it, it won a handful of awards. Dune Part 2, which was objectively the best film of 2024, it got some nominations and won a few awards, but it was also denied nomination due to the fact of it being a sequel. It made no sense. Now, everyone thought that Conclave and or Emilia Perez would sweep the Oscars, and Emilia Perez did take home Best Supporting Actress for Zoe Saldana as well as Best Original Song. And it wasn't even the one that was being memed on. It was Elma, which I have not seen Emilia Perez because the video that I made about the scandal didn't reach 500. I said I would watch and review the movie if that video got to 500. It did not. So I did not watch it. However, I have seen Elma, and it is a terrible song. It is poorly written. The composition is awful. Zoe Saldana obviously can't really sing. And also, her dancing was incredibly provocative. It made no sense. And that song just comes out of nowhere. And a lot of the things that she promises in the song don't actually happen in the movie. But alas, Conclave and Emilia Perez did not win, even though I would have put it all on that. I would have thought, yes, those are the movies that are going to sweep. Now, Emilia Perez was set up. However, when it came out that the director and the star were both, racist, they definitely had some very bigoted opinions about Spanish speaking countries, especially the director. It became abundantly clear that the movie wasn't going to win big other than Zoe Saldana because she was basically promised awards. What did I think of the big picture winner, that being Anora? Now, I did not watch Anora. Do you know why? Because it's an adult film. And by that, I mean it has some very inappropriate content in it. It's disgusting. It's a Sean Baker film, and he also took the Oscar for Best Director for Anora, but it's about a stripper who has a chance at real love, and it's loaded with all kinds of adult content. And I made my thoughts about it very clear on my X account. You can go go back and look. I'm not going to put it up here because I do know that parents will put this on with their kids. So all that to say, this was the year that I think the Oscars died. The last legitimate Oscars was in 2012. Now, I'm not saying good films haven't gotten Best Picture since 2012, but if you look at 2013 on, and by the way, 2013 actually had a decent show. Seth MacFarlane put on a very good job as the host of ceremonies, but since then it has become like this display of a smug sense of self-importance where we have actors whine about environmental causes, whine about bills that have been passed in states where the Oscars don't even take place, and not to mention how they just slammed law enforcement when law enforcement is there protecting them. Now, if I was law enforcement, I would have pulled back every single cop that was on duty that night. The fact is, no one in the general audience really cared about Anora. Maybe some Europeans did, but no one in the United States. I didn't even hear about the movie until Jester Bell asked me to go on the live stream with her. So why did it win? Amelia Perez was supposed to win, but then when all those controversies happened, they just needed a picture, but they want to slap it in the face of the general audience that rewarded good cinema like Dune Part 2. So Dune Part 2 doesn't win Best Picture, Anora does, a movie about a stripper. I'm not saying that those kinds of movies should be censored, but they should not be rewarded either. It's like when people try to tell me Lars van Trier is a good director. He's not a good director. He's a terrible director. He just makes adult films, but then makes them sad and then pretends like they have a message behind them. That's all he does. It's like the people who try to tell me Sallow is a good movie. Sallow is not a good movie. Again, it's just a sad adult film. That's all it is. It has no message, it has no meaning, and all these people who go on YouTube and they comb through hours of the movie where they look at different scenes and they're like, oh, look, this scene represents that, and these three characters represent this. It's all malarkey. It's nothing. It is nothing but sound and fury and representing nothing, just like the Oscars. Now, Conan O'Brien was a decent host. He got off some really funny jokes, but it was sort of undercut by American actors wearing flags from a particular European country that is embroiled in a conflict. I don't want to see that from them. I don't care what they have to say. Social media has really exposed the Hollywood elite, whether they be actors, directors, or producers, as self indulgent, selfish, narcissistic people. And there are exceptions to that rule. I don't think that of Gal Gadot, Keanu Reeves, Adam Sandler, Denzel Washington. I didn't think of it with Chadwick Boseman and so on. But let's be real. The vast majority of these Hollywood elites, New York elite, if you want to say some of them live in New York, are just these selfish, quite frankly, jerks. And yes, it's fun to watch them on the big screen. It's fun to cheer when they play a decent character. I can separate the art from the artist, but Hollywood can't. Hollywood rewards self indulgence. They reward perversion. They reward every kind of in between act that would be repugnant to any average Joe. They don't award cinema anymore. It's not about the art form. It's not about filmmaking anymore. It is about patting each other on the back and giving them awards because it's their turn or because they were in this movie that stuck it to the man who they are. They are the man, which is really hilarious to me. They're not rebels. They're not renegades. They are barely artists. What they are just a bunch of classist elitists who go on all kinds of self-indulgent rants. They'll fly in on private jets and then yell at you because you put gas in your car that week to get to your job. That's the kind of people Hollywood is, and it was on full display at the 97th Academy Awards. We saw it with the presenters, we saw it with the shows, we saw it with Conan O'Brien, we saw it with everyone in between. And like I said, Conan O'Brien is a decent host. Of the late night TV host of his generation, let's say, is the funniest. He is hilarious. Stephen Colbert, that man, I'm starting to think never had any talent. Jon Stewart, he's completely gone off the rails after the failure of his directing career. Trevor Noah was never funny. I don't know why people even think he was funny to begin with. Jimmy Fallon is good when he's interviewing someone, but solo, not so much. And Jimmy Kimmel, oh my gosh, what an embarrassment of once great people like David Letterman, Jay Leno, or of course, Johnny Carson. It is absolutely clear to me that Hollywood has lost its way. And you know what? Let it burn. Let it burn. When we find out what the ratings are, I guarantee you it won't be as high as that single moment of when Chris Rock and Will Smith staged that slap on stage. And yes, I do believe it was staged. I could tell from the video, Will Smith was not making a slap hand. This is how you slap someone. He had his hand out like this. He went like this, Chris Rock put his hands behind his back so he wouldn't react. Because when you see someone about to do this, your instinct is lift your arms. He put his hands behind his back and he leaned into it, and then whack. And by the way, if it wasn't staged, that was the most beta slap I've ever seen in my life. I've seen grandmothers slap harder than that. So it was totally staged, and they just did it, but they weren't expecting the pushback that Will Smith got, and so they had to go backwards. I don't care what Chappelle says, it was staged. The era of Hollywood rewarding itself and people caring is over. We've seen what these folks are like as they try to intrude more into politics, into our personal lives, into our jobs. We've seen who they really are. And I think that I'm not alone in saying I just don't care anymore. Juror number 2, probably Clint Eastwood's final film, didn't get nominated. The In Memoriam left off names like Michelle Trachtenberg and Tony Todd. No one cares. At Hollywood, I mean. We care because we remember Michelle Trachtenberg from television and film. We remember Tony Todd as the Candyman and his numerous other film roles. Not even a mention in the In Memoriam. A bunch of executives that we've never heard of and certainly don't care about, but 2 people who entertained us in our childhoods and into our adulthoods, who died tragically, don't even get a mention. It's embarrassing. It's foolish. In fact, I remember in the 2023, they didn't even mention Kevin Conroy. Jacob, he was a TV voice actor. No, he wasn't. He made live action film appearances. Not to mention, Batman Mask of the Phantasm was a theatrical film where he voiced. They've honored voice actors before, but no, they ghost people that they know the audiences love. Oh, sure, sometimes they have to do it by obligation, like with Gene Hackman, which he deserved to be honored. He was a brilliant actor, no question. But then also ignore Tony Todd and Michelle Trachtenberg and Kevin Conroy. And then they trot out Mark Hamill to present an award, a guy who lost his pants at the BAFTAs. Great voice actor, good actor on stage, but a jerk in real life. And it pains me to say that. Luke Skywalker is one of my heroes, but again, I have to separate the art from the artist. This might have seemed more like a rant video to you. Maybe it was. Whatever the case may be, I'm glad that you stuck with me to the end. I don't plan on watching the Oscars next year unless Jester Bell asks me to come on a live stream. I will do it because she and I are good friends, and I will go on the live stream for her. But otherwise, perhaps I'll do my own award show where I will honor movies that I've seen that I've enjoyed, where I think they deserve the spotlight. Tell me what you think about that in the comments section below. Am I wrong? Did you enjoy the Oscars? Did you sit down through the whole thing and enjoyed the whole show and were happy with the awards that were given? I would love to hear your thoughts. I won't debate you about it. I just want to hear if you genuinely disagreed. If you like that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment, tell me what you think, and subscribe. If you want to support the video, join my channel membership if you're watching on YouTube. Also head over to my locals where you can sign up. You can check out my website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where I have even more. Not to mention you can support me by purchasing 1 or all 4 of my novels. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.
Cause I've been living life right like I